Ever since the launch of Roblox in 2006, obbies have been a household name in the community, with simple and fun games to enjoy with friends, up to obbies that try to test the true limit of Roblox players. From the very start, people have resorted to cheating, not only in obbies, but almost every game genre on Roblox. Either it's from frustration of not being able to beat a game, or the human instinct to be special, superior, and respected by others. In the obbying community, many well-known people have been caught for cheating. But how did the presumably unknown person manage to make every obbyist scratch their head in confusion and disbelief? A very much unknown obbyist posts a completion of Hope for Amendment, an obby made by Slad, who you might know for making beans and snacks. Although this obby is considered around 15,000 times harder than Tower of Hell, it isn't much of a feat in the obbying community. Due to this, no one assumed that this random person known as Marcus Terry was cheating. There were no signs to show it after all. Some people even compared Marcus to people like Akira, who was one of the best obbyists at the time. Not everyone was completely sure that Marcus was legitimate though. I mean, how could a random obbyist just beat a tier 15 obby in 30 to 40 minutes? For reference, Dreamy Early, a really good and dedicated obbyist, takes on average 35 hours to beat a tier 15 obby. Obviously everyone improves at different speeds, but to beat a famous obby that is known for not being overrated in difficulty, like Hope for Amendment, so quickly just seems inhuman. Marcus completes the first part of a high tier 17 obby. Obbyists who were slightly suspicious of Marcus after his first completion were now fully fixated on Marcus's completions. The first stage of Anata is considered mid tier 16, which means Marcus had more than doubled his skill level in only 2 days. Obviously many people were still hoping for the best, that Marcus wasn't a cheater, but a genuine incredible obbying talent. By this point, people were freaking out. I'd say around 90% of the people in the obby community believed Marcus was still legit. These 90% of people were mostly amateur or beginner obbyists, who honestly didn't really know how incredible it was. All they knew that Marcus is now the top 1 obbyist and he's improving fast, including me. On the other hand, some top obbyists with years of experience were starting to doubt Marcus. This growth from tier 15 to high tier 17 was robot-like. It just seemed like he wasn't going to stop anytime soon. And they were right. On June 20th, Marcus rebeat Honor, which is a low tier 17 obby. Not harder than Anata, but still not an obby to be underlooked. And yeah, you heard me right, rebeat. Apparently Marcus had beaten Honor previously, but now had rebeaten it to post it on YouTube, as well as beating Back There Benjamin about a month later, which is currently the legitimate top 1 tiered obby. In the description of this completion, Marcus mentioned that he hadn't posted anything because he had been grinding an obby called Stairway to Heaven. At the time, no one really paid attention to this, mostly because he would beat an obby that would garner him a ton of attention only a couple days later. Tower of Vacant Hindrances. This random dude that no one knows beating the top 1 tower in Jato completely exploded in the Jato community. Before this completion, the Jato community knew who he was but didn't pay much attention to him, which is what Marcus clearly desperately wanted. So that's why he went ahead and targeted Tower of Vacant Hindrances, and his plan worked. The entire JTO community now knew the name Marcus, and that he was the best obbyist in the world. Only a day later, an obbyist called Kubalo posted a video on how Marcus isn't legit, mentioning that Marcus's cursor hadn't moved a single time throughout all of his completions, and that it was stagnant still in the middle of the screen. Kubalo also found that there was only one mention of him in the JTO Discord server without any context. This message was sent in January of 2019, and quite surprisingly, Marcus's YouTube channel was created only 1 month after. This could mean that the Marcus Terry account was already being planned a while before the completions started getting posted. Kubalo guessed that Marcus was using an advanced replay system, because his gameplay was robotic without slowing down or signs of distress, which should be apparent in any obbyist completions. He mentioned that although Marcus showed the task manager after his completions, which shows if any external apps or in this case cheating softwares are opened, it doesn't really prove anything in this situation, because scripts and exploits can be injected into Roblox and then closed without disabling them. Marcus had now garnered the attention of both the tiered obby community and the JTO community. He was ready for his final completion, a completion so groundbreaking that it hasn't been replicated since. It was apparent Marcus had been planning this completion from the very start by looking at the descriptions of other completions. That obby was Stairway to Heaven. When Marcus was nearing the final jumps of Stairway to Heaven, some of the biggest names in the community had joined to watch him revolutionize obbying. Vipsim, ObbyRay, Khan 2005 were some notable names. Discord servers were being spammed with GG messages. Marcus had done the impossible.
Alright, hello everyone, Marcus here. Today I'll be addressing the cheating allegations that people have been saying. And well, this whole time, we've been using something called replayability that I made like a few months ago.
Marcus had fooled the entire community. Kubalo was completely right, word for word. Just like Kubalo said, Marcus had been using an advanced replayability system that allowed you to record the gameplay and then play it as if it were a real completion. But who was behind all of this? A guy named Whatheck, but he wasn't alone, another person was associated with it, and you wouldn't believe who it was. Akira, quote unquote, one of the best obbyists at the time. Community members later discovered that most of Akira's legitimate runs were also faked, just like Marcus's. Most of the members were completely confused on how this happened. But obviously there was a slight minority that knew that Marcus wasn't legit. To this day, this is still the biggest cheating scandal in Roblox obbying history.